Okay. Okay, so go ahead, grab your chair. I've got my box with me. I'm going to be using that as a chair, but anything will work for you. And we're going to do just a little bit of a full body stretch. So we're going to work our way from our neck. We're going to go down to our legs and a little bit in between. So let's just start out nice and simple with some shoulder rolls. Just loosen up that neck, loosen up those shoulders a little bit. I'm rolling those forward. Very nice. Go ahead and reverse that. So now I'm going to pull those shoulders back. And whenever you do that, sometimes whenever I get that positioning where I'm pulling those shoulders back, I'll get a little bit of maybe popping in the shoulders. And good rule of thumb is if it doesn't hurt, if it doesn't cause any discomfort, that's totally fine. If it does, though, then just pull back. Don't pull those shoulders back so far. All right, and then real quick, let's just do a simple neck stretch. So I'm just going to allow gravity to pull my head to the right. And then we just want to take a second, try to tell that neck to relax and feel that pull from under your ear all the way down into your shoulder. If it ever gets to a point to where you feel any discomfort or it's painful, we really don't want to mess up the neck at all. So just go ahead and pull back from that. Nice job. Let's do the same thing on the other side. So now I'm just resting my head to the left. Feel that stretch on the right side of your neck, leading down to your shoulder. Great job. All right. Moving on, let's do a few spinal rotations. So what we're going to do, I'm going to start out by taking my left leg, crossing it over my right leg, and then you can do one of two things. You can grab that outside of your left knee with your hand, or you can even use your elbow as an anchor point. And then we're going to turn to the left. Stay seated in your chair. But we're turning those shoulders out to our side, getting a nice little stretch. Again, with this, especially whenever we talk about spinal rotation, you might get a little bit of popping in there. If it is ever uncomfortable, then pull back. We don't want to go into that movement, but if there's no pain associated, then that's totally fine. Let's go ahead and cross the right over the left. Again, you can use your hand or your elbow as an anchor on that knee. Twisting out to the right and holding. Good job. And this is something we're holding right now, but if you're doing this on your own at your desk, you can always do small, slow repetitions of this. This isn't really necessary to hold for long periods of time, unlike maybe a static stretch in the legs or the chest. All right, very great job. Okay, next up, we are going to do a little bit of a seated forward fold. We're going to allow that lower back to stretch out a little bit. So I'm going to have you go into a wide stance, pull those feet apart, and then you're going to scoot out to the very, very edge of your seat. And now from here, just allow your torso to fall forward. And how far you lower yourself down is going to be a little bit different for everybody. Just depends on your flexibility, mobility. If you have any tension in your back and you need to decrease that, then you can place those hands on the knees to help determine how much weight you're allowing to fall forward. But if you're not feeling any tension in the back, then just see how far forward you can fold. Plant those hands on the floor in front of you if you can. I know some of you that are extra flexible, you might even be able to pull that head in close. Nice job. All right, go ahead, walk yourself back up. And we're going to return to our starting position. Now from here, we're sitting up straight and we're going to go into basically a seated cat stretch. So just a reminder, whenever we're doing the cat stretch on the floor, that's where we're in our tabletop position and we're putting a nice big arch in our mid back. So we're going to do that in a seated position. So let me turn my chair real quick. From here, we're just going to take those arms, extend them out in front of us. We're pushing our shoulders forward, keeping those arms straight, putting a big rounding in our mid back, spreading those scapula apart. You can slightly tuck your chin in while you do this, and then return to that upright position, and then pull those shoulders back in the correct posture. So now we're just going to do nice, slow repetitions of this. This is a great tool for mobility and that mid back, that thoracic spine. And that's the part of our back that we want to be mobile. So unlike some of the other stretches that we do, that we hold for long periods of time that are static, this is one that you keep more dynamic, which just means that you're continually moving through it. Nice job. Let's get a couple more in. Nice job. Okay, we are going to stay with the back, and this is the this is the only stretch that we're doing today that you actually have to get out of your seat to do, but we're still going to use our chair. So what I'm going to have you do, you can place your hands against the seat or the back of the chair. If you're in a place where you get out of your chair and get down in a kneeling position, I would recommend using the back of the seat because it's going to be a little bit higher. But what you're going to do is place your palms face down on the seat or the back of the chair, and then we are going to, while keeping our arms completely straight, hinge those hips and then allow your torso to fall forward in that empty space created by your hips. And the whole time we do this, we're keeping those arms straight, keeping those palms against the chair. Going to give us a nice big stretch in our lats, which is that big sheet of muscle covering most of our back. Just hold there for a few more seconds. Nice job. And return. All right, we're going to go ahead and get back into our seated position. And then from here, we're going to go into a hamstring stretch. It's a great one to do throughout the day. You can just push your chair back a little bit and then reach down. We're just going to do a basic hamstring toe touch. So straighten those legs out and reach down towards your toes. We want to feel a nice big stretch in our hamstrings. Now, something that I do that may be a little bit different than what you might see before, I normally don't lock out my knees just because I don't want a lot of tension coming right behind my knee. I mean, that's fine, but you can really target those hamstring muscles higher up on the back of your thigh if you keep your legs straight, but just don't completely lock those knees out. Another thing that might help you, if you feel a lot of stretch in the back of the calves, then you can drop your feet, point your toes forward. That's going to put a little bit of slack in those calves, and you can really focus on getting down into those hamstrings. And again, how far forward you're stretching is going to be a little bit different for everybody. And rule of thumb, if you spend more time doing these static stretches where we're holding our position, allowing that muscle to lengthen, you're going to be able to train yourself to increase that range of motion that you're able to get. Body's great to adapt into that. Very nice job. Go ahead, pull yourself back up, and we're going to use our last minute or so to go into a nice little hip stretch. I'm going to start out by crossing my left leg over my right. And I like to do this with a nice tight tuck of the leg. And now from here, I'm going to try to keep my torso fairly straight. And then I'm going to hinge forward. Further you hinge forward, going to feel a big pull in your glutes or even in the back of the thigh up towards the upper portion of those hamstrings. Nice, big hip stretch. This is basically like a seated figure four. You get a nice tight tuck in there. Some would even call it a seated half pigeon. But great stretch, easy to do at the desk. Let's go ahead and do the same thing. Right leg over left. Tuck that leg in, and then hinge forward. This is one where I really try to keep my back fairly straight and hinge forward at the hips instead of just allowing my back to bend and laying forward. You're going to get a lot bigger stretch in those hips if you try to keep that back fairly straight. Nice job. Hold this for just a few more seconds. Great job. And return to starting position. All right, that is all the time we have. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me for today's desk stretch. If you have any questions about anything that we did, or want to go any deeper into any of the movements, then I would definitely encourage you to check out our mobility classes, or you can always reach out to me with any questions that you have. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Stefan.
Thank you, Stefan.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.